I am going to allow you guys to come back into the live and then we'll pick up exactly where we left off. For those of you guys who are just in my live with me, it was interrupted by a phone call and the sound never returned. So I'm going to skip the cozy introduction and you guys watch my previous live, the one titled Current Event Wednesday, Terror in Iran or something like that, to catch up on where we will be picking off here. I see the hearts. Please, once you come back in, let me know that you're back so I can greet you and then we can continue right where we left off. And I will tell you guys about um, how they, and by they, um, powers that be have learned to sabotage lives when the trolls don't work, or at least mine. Come back on in, guys. Welcome to Beyond the Veil if you're new here. And if you are not in my previous live, welcome. And if you are not new here and you were in my previous live, welcome back. Gonna take a sip of agua. It tells me that some of you guys are already in here. Welcome, Tiara. Welcome back, Adorn. I did see you in the other live saying that you couldn't hear me either, but I didn't get to greet you as you came in. Welcome, Mama Fakit. Welcome, Adorned. You guys were back. So some of you guys who have been around here for a while are familiar with some of the different ways that my lives have been interrupted. It started with the excessive and aggressive trolls. When that didn't work, remember my connection kept getting cut. I would lose internet. I would lose everything, the ability to connect. I would get off of Wi-Fi and try to get on through my 5G and my 5G would be gone. It's like they hit a button would be hit and every device that I might want to connect to, including my house's Wi-Fi, would be gone. So some of you guys remember how much of a struggle it was during that time. And then I started noticing that when all of those things didn't work and I was able to fight through, when I was able to fight through, then I start getting strange calls that come up as spam in the middle of my lives, but only certain lives. When I'm talking that talk, only those lives. And typically, when you get a call on a live, it does freeze the video and it'll knock out the sound, but the sound usually returns. In this case, the sound never came back, so I had no choice but to end my live, which in their case is great because I had over 1,000 viewers on that other live. I'd have to start over um, from ground up on this one. And so that is the benefit of calling me in the middle of my live from a spam number. And then I never regain the volume on my video so that I have to end it. And hopefully I don't get the audience back that I had. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter if there were 10 people in here right now or 2 people in here right now. The message will continue. So you guys are going to have to do something a little bit more drastic to the speaker rather than the speaking box. And now who would want to do that? So we're here. What I was saying was, in regard to, because we are talking about the US and their dealings in Iran, Please, I'm not going to summarize everything that we were just talking about. You'll have to go and watch the live that started here, and it's titled Current Events Wednesday, and it's the one talking about terror in Iran. I've already looked. Um, I used to go live from my laptop, and I don't prefer it. I don't prefer going live from my laptop because for some reason the chat doesn't show up for me the same way it does on my laptop, and being able to engage with my community is a part of the program that I run here. I like to be a little interactive. And I don't like the way it looks on my laptop until I get a new laptop. Then I'll try it again, but my laptop isn't that new, isn't that fancy. It's a Chromebook. I'm gonna upgrade, but I was trying to hold off until one of my a closing. Um, it's just things are more cushiony when I have closings, because those are, anyways. So we'll work it out, but they'll find a way, I'm sure, because they used to just zap my entire internet, my everything. That used to be the way that they used to do me. I would just lose connectivity. Everything would freeze up. My whole house Wi-Fi would just derail. So that's how they used to do things when the trolls didn't work. And then when that didn't work, the calls started. So here we are. As I was saying, look at my spirits. Push through, Dina. You better push through. They have justice and so below. Now, according to natural law, in any law, justice is when you have your day in court and you get a verdict. They have judgment, the US, and their external energy. Trump, you should love this channel because you get free consultations. And notice a Trump troll shows up in here after I get back on live, after the scam calls come through and my live was interrupted and the volume permanently was muted. Then I started up again, and then there's a troll in here calling themselves Trump. Even though it's not the real Trump, I'm telling you guys that they monitor what we do and what I say on this channel because of my skill set, not for any other reason. Well, Trump, since you're here, justice in your so below position, that's your verdict. You should be. Judgment is what comes next. And that's in your external energy. So judgment is coming in. Because justice was already served on the United States, which is why your advice, Trump, leave people's stuff alone. Judgment. Hopes and fears for the U.S. that they won't be able to attack, that they won't be able to, even though Trump goes rogue often, they're not going to do a full-on, like sending the troops, sending B613 and all of that stuff. Not going to do that if the entirety of the United States says no war. We won't send in troops. This administration doesn't mind it. Why? Because they were pushed out and they couldn't stand up on their own with their little covert attacks. So now they're mad and they want to rain down hellfire and thunder on them because of their ego is bruised. See the bruise on the head? So the hopes and fears is that they're not going to be able to attack. Outcome. Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles in reversed was, Iran's near future. And I said that they were going to be hoarding their resources. The United States will not be able to, let me clarify this first. The Empress in the future and the Queen of Pentacles. Since I'm reading the United States, this is Venus in Libra. This is Venus. This is Venus in Libra. I'm on your ass. Since I know y'all watching right now, maybe maybe this is me in your near future. Since Trump is here and I've already pronounced justice, judgment, and I've been pronouncing it. The problem, the problem is, I'm not saying that that's me, but I am saying that I've shown up in some of these readings before and I just didn't say it because they do watch. They are aware. And they'll continue to do so quietly and privately as to not draw more attention and to make my channel popular so that more people hear what I have to say or become clients and then get some of that good woo that they can't do nothing with it. Got a client, got a letter from the IRS. They was coming for $15,000 in taxes. I talked to her yesterday. We did a woo. I said, did they get it? She said, no. Got another client. Federal student aid. We want $2,600 out of you. She said, Dina, help. What was it? Not even a week later. Balance zero. Had another client. Dina, they're trying to kick out a whole apartment building in the Bronx. Everybody, they said, got to go in 30 days, even though we've been paying because they want to do something else with the building with new owners. She said, we don't mind leaving, but we need time to do so. They just sprang it up on us and they want us to leave tomorrow, but we've been paying rent on time. I said, don't worry. How much time y'all need? She said, shoot, 8 months? They got 8 months. Let me clarify this Queen of Pentacles. Something tells me that the U.S. is going to start paying attention to something going on in their own house. They've got a problem in their own house. And they're about to start looking at it. Whatever that is. Outcome, Queen of Pentacles. There may be there may be conversations that they have with Iran. I believe that there will be some diplomacy. I saw for Iran that it'll stop just short of an all-out war. I believe it'll stop just short of an all-out war. Hopes and fears. Yes, if certain government parties don't agree, then they can't do it. They can't do an all-out war because they would need to send soldiers to die. They have to wait for another entity to agree, and currently they don't, to send soldiers just to die. Want to know why they need soldiers to go over there that they know are going to die? It has nothing to do with dying in honor. But when you are trying to acquire something of substance like that in the material wealth realm, you got to make a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. And the casualties of wars are the necessary sacrifices. Unfortunately, that's an unfortunate truth. It has nothing to do with honor. Near future with this Empress. That gives me the US is going to focus on its domestic matters soon. But in what way? Because it doesn't necessarily look bad. I wonder if Trump is going to give something to the citizens of the United States to kind of keep them distracted from the fact that we done tried to start a war with Iran, maybe even to garner some kind of support. If that's not Trump giving something to the US, then this might be the president, the leaders of Venezuela, because this is an emperor and an empress. And something's being, the US has something in store for its own citizens, and it is a way to distract. Expect a distraction of some sort, and it may come as something that's supposed to be good and beneficial for the US. Even if it's not political, but if it has something to do with just like nurturing the US. I'm not saying like a party or something, but what month is it? January? What if black people, what if Trump gives a STEMI package in Black History Month? I don't see that, but I was tasty. I just looked up and saw you say give money makes people chill. I don't necessarily see a giving in money, but it could be that. The U.S. is responsible for what's going on in Iran, and the people know that, and they don't want us to get too invested in the fact that people just died in Iran because of some involvement with the U.S. It would be funny if he gave a STEMI during Black History Month. Not saying it happened, but there's something that he's considering doing for the United States to distract us. The U.S. also is broke, and they don't want the citizens to pay attention to the fact that we are broke and we are stealing. That's exactly what it is. And not only that, not only are we broke, but we're a little weak right now. We are not as big and bad as Trump is making us seem. But if you bully the lesser countries and you can get away with it, then we look like a badass. We're not supposed to pay attention to the fact that we couldn't run up in Africa and that we can't successfully run up in Iran. We look weak and we look broke. And then the people start saying, well, wait a second here. We're not even a superpower anymore. And then the people said, well, that explains why all of our luxuries have gone away. It started here. We got stripped down first. And then when it wasn't enough to take from an already debt-ridden the United States, everybody else got to get down and lay down. Thank you, Q, and welcome to the chat. I'm glad that you in here after some of these trolls are gone because, I don't know, you a good man, and I don't want you exposed to these trolls. I don't know, Q. I'm just glad that you in here after they gone. You bring such great energy in here, and I don't want you to be tainted by trollage. The U.S. citizens will start thinking that everything, and then we'll be inspired. Well, we broke, we weak. Why would I pay a tax anymore? If everybody thinks that, I'm telling you, they're too weak. They've been bullying the U.S. with ICE and all of that stuff and making y'all scared. But if you really look at how they're moving, they're desperate and they're afraid and they're broke. And if we just decided to say they're actually really vulnerable right now And it's the perfect time for us to say, hell no, we won't go no more. We don't want to do X, Y, and Z, and you can't make us. You know what judgment is for these people? A united people. Even if we're united in being fed up. You ain't even got to go in the streets and let them hoes you, bullet you down. Just say, I ain't doing it. And whatever it is, don't do it. They'll bully, they'll throw temper tantrums, but if you stay put, they'll fall back. For a while until they regroup and find another way. But then we just keep doing what we're doing here so we can stay 10 steps ahead of the game. Why was the devil your advice? Meaning to let go of people's stuff. Because that's a message from the divine. What'll happen if we don't? They say. Well, let's see. Salam alaikum, my brother. Aziz. Salam alaikum, my brother. A high priestess is going to step up to make sure America... Now, the advice is to leave people's stuff alone. Why? Because this high priestess said so. Torah, meaning law, meaning natural law. Not man's law, natural law. I said Mother Earth and nature itself would correct these wrongs. There is a messenger who is also a high priestess, who is also adept in natural law, a messenger. Who can expose your tricks to the international community? If she's a high priestess, she has the ability to see into the unseen. And then she says it publicly. And then everybody else who was a target of yours might hear it. Might be able to know things about you and your vulnerabilities. Might know how to strategize around you. And here we are again. Here she is again. The Divine Mother is coming through, and maybe, just maybe, one of her daughters will be an issue. Possibly one that speaks publicly. Possibly one that knows a thing or two about a thing or two and can also do a thing or two about a thing or two. This person probably has maybe some kind of following, influence over people. Somebody might hear what she has to say about justice being pronounced against this nation. About this emperor here who's been spreading carnage throughout the world. Somebody might hear something about him that may help them understand how to get themselves out of a bind, Nate. I just unhid that person that Tiara hid. Let me hide them back. Okay, I hid them back. All right, let me take a look at this high priestess real quick. Oh, well, she's domestic to the U.S. She's a citizen of the U.S. But not one of your little friends. But she a big mama. This is a Venus and Libra card. Who happens to be a Libra with Venus and Libra around here? Oh, I got it. I also am one of these. And one of these. And one of these. One of these too. No, Spirit, seriously. The reason you said for the U.S. to leave these people stuff alone, the first thing that came out was the High Priestess. What the High Priestess got to do with them leaving people stuff alone as their advice? Me. I'm a Libra. Venus in Libra. I'm this. I'm this. I'm this. I'm this. Doing a reading on this. And this is the advice, to leave people's stuff alone. Now that came from the divine. Hey, bush watchers, including the high-powered bush watchers, the bush watchers on high that like to remain anonymous, but take information from here and use it to your highest and best good. Careful, because I'm about to start run to people who take from me, take inspiration, but don't like to give to the nation. Ain't shit free around here no more. Not even good news. Not even help. I don't know who get in touch, but I told my spirits, anybody that's ciphering from me, because I feel so many holes is coming out of me. They getting cut off. Clean off. Whoosh. And I'll find out once people start losing followings and things like that in positions because ain't no more juice being siphoned. Child. I don't know why Justice and the High Priestess was behind that advice of leaving people's stuff alone. But since I had a troll in here who named himself Trump, who said that they are watching me and said some other things, that makes sense for your advice to be leave people's stuff alone. Even if that's not the real Trump, it's one of y'all. And if you're in here, it was the perfect timing for spirits to say, tell them to leave other people's stuff alone. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with that. And this ain't me. Not physically. But this energy has to come through someone's. And if God blew himself up into many, many millions of pieces so that everybody could be a part of God, then what's wrong with you and I? Why aren't we worthy vessels? Considering we also are made in the image. And if God decides to do a thing, don't think that you and I aren't thing one and thing two. Boom. Spirit said, tell them that, since they want to interrupt lives and stuff using their high-powered technology. Spirit, why did I get that spam call now that I'm done reading the U.S. and Iran? And then after I finish this, I am going to tell you guys about my new service list for 2026. A girl who reaches new levels and get new devils is able to redo her services and price list. But it's because, anyways, I'll finish. When I got that interruption, for the people who are new here and wonder why I would say that any random call might be intentional to interrupt this live, consider the topic that I just spoke on, the things that I just said, and understand why it might be beneficial for people to not pay attention to people like me. That would be the motive. But let's see. Let's see if I'm paranoid or paralyzed by lies. I don't get paranoid often because I typically will talk myself out of thinking that anybody knows that I exist besides the busted babies. And then things will happen and I'll be like, well, why is this happening? And spirit be like, my God, she's dumb. My spirits be like, my God, she's dumb. All the sense in the world and can't see what's right in front. Told y'all one of my bad habits is I'll take a red flag and wrap that bitch around me and wear it like a dress. Because I grew up in an environment with a mother and siblings and people around me who probably saw such exuberant energy and light in me. And what I didn't know as a child was it was there, but it rubbed people the wrong way. And it made people who probably should have felt superior to me feel a little inferior. So growing up, my talents were nurtured by strangers and not by those close to me. They were the ones who made sure that I didn't feel special at all, because they didn't know how to feel special about themselves in my shadow. And I didn't know I was casting a shadow. So I grew up learning how to, or understanding how to small myself, which is why when y'all see me popping ish now, I just pop my ish because it wasn't until I hit after 35, actually 37, after my Saturn return unhanded me, that I was forced to find some sort of self-esteem and value in myself, or else I couldn't be any good to anyone else. All right, Spirit, why did I get that random spam phone call that interrupted my live right in the midst of me being trolled, and I never regained sound in that live until I shut the whole ting them down? And hopefully this will show some of you other spiritualists, and even if you're not spiritualists, those of you guys who are on the side of righteous, which is a very narrow path, narrow like this, maybe it'll help you feel a little aware. Because I told y'all 2 years ago, when Pluto moved into Aquarius, or I did that what's on the horizon for Christianity, I told y'all they would come for us. But I told y'all, if you didn't have no real power, you're safe. They not stunting you. If you ain't, and not saying you don't have real power, but if you ain't doing nothing with it, they ain't gonna stunt you. And I told y'all they would be coming for us. I told y'all this 2 years ago. Who knew it was gonna be me first? I actually did. I saw it then. That's how I knew to tell you. I saw it a mile away when Pluto moved into Aquarius, because that puts power back to the people. And it also brings liberation, freedom for the soul, healing for the soul. Coincidentally, it also rules technology. So while we see a rising in technology dominating the minds of humanity, we'll also see the wheat that's separated from those tares. And once that happens, the wheat is easier to spot and target. All they need is tares. All they want is a tare. And I'm a wheat. So once AI set in after COVID and all of that, and all of you guys were locked in to the New World Order, it was easier to see who wasn't and then to target them. And God forbid it be someone with the spirits behind them, the spirit of vision and prophecy. Let it be one of those voices in the wilderness or one of the end time prophets. Not the ones that prophesied about the end times and died out before it got here, but one of the ones in the streets. Their scriptures say the two end time prophets was unalived and their bodies lay dead in the streets for 3 days. So that is the intention for end time prophets. If they could, they would. Spirit, did I get that call, that spam call, after the trolls didn't win as a distraction to this video, or was it just a random call? Why did I get that call that interrupted my live and I never regained the volume? Smack dab in the middle of me pronouncing justice and judgment. Because I was on one. Look at me. This is success, victory, overcoming challenges. These were the ops. These were the trolls in here throwing their racks. But me and the mods, block, 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 block. We was almost bankhead bouncing, blocking there. Just And then there's me, overcoming all the trolls. Look, red, yellow, red, yellow. There's some black. I got black. His head got a wreath on it. Mine got a scarf on it. Riding the pure horse of justice and purity. I was doing the Lord's work, and I was doing it well. I was reading them down. They said, cut the live. Cut it, 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 cut it. That hoe go went too hard. I said, we need to cut it. She talking all her shit. We say she need to cut it. Cut it, cut it, cut it. That's a song, in case y'all didn't know. Ooh, child. The price is way too hot. I said she need to cut it. Look at me, y'all. And look at the trolls. Failing like fuck. Failing like a motherfucker. Failing like a motherfucker. I'm going to say it again because you got to say it 3 times like Dr. Umar. I said failing like a motherfucker. And here we are with my black ass. Victorizing like a motherfucker. Yes, victorizing. I'll make up a word just like the Europeans did. They made up English. I make up nigalations. Victorizing. Because that's a mixture of victory with some tenderizing on it. You know, we like to tenderize our meat. So the victory was so good, it fell off the bone. I read them down. Read them down. They were seething. I'm telling y'all, they was in the command room. It was B613 that was behind the trolls. Faces orange. I'm talking mad. Look at the troll in here. What victory? Did you know what the fuck I'm talking about? Get your don't play. Don't play. I'm asking why that call came in and ended my live. Now, apparently there was some victory. They say what victory? This literally is a card called Victory and Success, bitch. And it came out regarding me in my live. So this tells me, and you can Google 6 of Wands. You will see phrases like success, victory, overcoming challenging obstacles. Let me just tell you, because y'all think I'm making this up. I'm using the cards and what they mean to interpret what's going on, and it just so happens to be true as fuck. Trump, you still in here? Was you not orange when I was reading you down? Vance wasn't? Yes, y'all was. Yes, y'all was. 6 of Wands. And yes, I am going to flip my screen around. About to get 6 of Wands. That's what this is. The Six of Wands tarot card signifies victory, public recognition, and success after overcoming challenges. I didn't make it up. I just said, why did that spam call in the middle of my live that canceled my live? Apparently, my live was a display of victory, public recognition, and success after overcoming the trolls. The key word here isn't even victory or success, it's the public recognition. Because the call, even though the call didn't freeze my live, the call muted the volume and it never came back. So I had to end that live and start over so that people could hear me. So it was the public recognition about what I was saying that had them shook enough to send in the federally telephone lines. This isn't my first time reading the energy on my channel. I read y'all. That's how I know about the bushwatchers. That's how I know who the bushwatchers are. Not all of them are big dogs, but some of them have a reason to be in the bushes. And I don't call them out because I respect them. Respect everybody's right to privacy, even if you're a stan. And I stand my bushwatchers back. I do readings to see who's an op around here, who the trolls are, who sends them. How should I handle situations like that? I do it every day, before and after every live. I promise you. That's how I know. And this is not, they didn't just begin. Public recognition, disconnect, disturb. The call, this is a sword, so that's communication. The call was to distract and disconnect the live because of the public recognition and victory and success I had in reading them the fuck down from my command room. They in their war room and I'm all up in it. Full of the spirit. The Fool card is 0. I told you guys about this on Monday. I gave you guys a lesson about the first 6 cards of the tarot, starting with the Fool as 0. This is pure unlimited potential, straight directly from source. The Magician is when it gets put into a body, meaning a womb. So spirit, matter, but all this is taking place in the womb. And then the High Priestess comes, which is the second card, because your conscious memory from your past lives, that gets downloaded as soon as your soul incarnates into a new body. And then after the High Priestess, which is 2, the Empress, because all this is taking place in the womb of your mother. And then after the Empress, card number 4, the Emperor, your daddy. Because there is no judgment after it leaves the mother's womb, right? You spend 9 months in your mother's womb. You don't know nothing about your daddy until you get out and you meet him. And then the Hierophant, which is when conditioning sets in, programming, traditions, family, society, and all of that stuff. So I taught y'all about that, which is why I said the Fool is pure spirit, pure limitless potential. I am too connected in the ethers. I see too much. It's as if I'm not even confined to a body. I can read them while joking. I can get distracted and come on back. My spirit operates as if it's not confined to a body or the 3D realm. It operates as if it's still straight potential from the source. My body has not contained it. It actually did, but I've evolved past that, and that took work. So the services I'm about to tell you guys after this, please don't think that I'm peddling services because I need your money. I just picked up a new listing today in real estate. One for 750,000. Oh, I just dropped the price, so it's 725. And this one, I'm thinking five, somewhere between 5 and 550. But this isn't my day job. So I've done a lot of work to get to know God because that was my goal as a child. I did not love myself and I didn't feel loved by people around me. So I thought, well, I'm alive. I was born. So that means God loves me. Let me find out why, because I didn't even know why I should love myself. And I didn't feel like I could find out from my father. So I figured, well, the person who created me has to be able to tell me why I'm valued enough to be born. And from then on, my whole journey has been seeking God. And then one day, sometime in my late 20s, early 30s, it hit me. I got to focus on me. You know what, Leo? I actually have been playing around with that kind of consultation. And then yesterday, I was talking to my spirits and I said, okay, before I progress with rolling out my next level of Beyond the Veil and things like that, I need to be able to see myself. I need to see myself, not the version, not the Dina, not the Adina that I am in this lifetime, but I need to see myself from my soul's perspective, the one that has had many lifetimes. And sure enough, I asked a few questions. I was like, if this isn't my first time being alive, then who am I? Not just today as Adina, but who have I been as well? And where am I going based on why I am in this lifetime? And it was eye-opening. So that's when I decided, yeah, let me go ahead and roll this out because, and I'm going to also say, you don't need that consultation because I believe it's $100 and my general consultations are 75. Don't do that if you're not prepared to utilize that information. Don't just be curious and say, well, I'm curious to know about my past. Like if you can do that and I can just be like, okay, well, you paid for it, but something like that, that type of consultation and finding out that information you need to know after you find out who you are and where you've been, you need to know how you're going to apply that to where you're going and actually do it. Because the karma, there's another element to knowing is the responsibility after you become aware, past, present, and future. It's a snapshot of who you are from a soul level. I looked at my past life. Now, I always shared you guys a dream that I had about being hung and burned alive in slavery days because I was doing woo and I was teaching other slave women woo. And in my past position, the hangman. Now, I saw that in a dream, but when I did the reading, it absolutely showed up. And it showed me that the powers that be also have a way of tracking certain souls as they reincarnate. They can't see them as soon as they're born, but at some point of your growth, they can see. They can see through your blood work, they can see through your medical records, they can see who you are and if you're going to be a problem. And some life experiences that you may think are random are not, they're by design. I've seen many spiritual and physical designs working against me throughout my entire life, and the first one was my parents. And the worst one was my mother, who's in the living room. So I still honor, but I'm aware of how to protect myself against some of the things, even if the traps set against me don't know that they're traps. I do. So it's my responsibility to avoid them. Nevertheless, My live got interrupted because I was doing what I do best here. It was getting too real, too good. And I think I had over 1,000 viewers in that live. It was too many people in there seeing what I said, because when it comes true, then y'all ain't gonna do nothing but come back and continue to believe other things I say. And based on my track record in life, not just here, that is a problem for them. Too much spirit juice. How do they feel, Spirit, about us continuing this live? And how do they feel about the first live? How do they feel about the things that I said and the things that I say here? Do they think that they're lies? Do they think that I'm crazy? Because there's a card here that might show crazy. In the context of me asking, am I crazy? If I pull the moon card, then I'd say yeah. But then again, I'm nervous because it might just say, no, you are talking about truthful things, especially related to Africa. I love Black people too. Ridrashk. Spirit, do the people that wanted this live to be interrupted, do they think I'm crazy? Do they think I'm a fibber and a liar? Which would be the magician in reverse, a con artist? No, they don't think I'm a fibber or a liar. They want to box me in so that I can't see or say or do. It's not even one or two of them. And when I say them, government people. Now, the government, I believe, watches all of us legally or illegally. I look like Donald Trump. See, they come in here and say weird stuff because they don't know what else to do. Watching. Here's me in the middle, not knowing who's really watching me outside of the spirit that I stand on, which is the water. But look at all these swords around me. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. God forbid I tell people about reincarnation and how you can beat and defeat death even by things that you understand while you're alive. God forbid we start learning how to defeat death and we don't have to come back here in a slave state with a slave mentality like I did. Yeah, I came here as a service, not because I was weighed in the balance and found wanting. And for the members, when I read myself yesterday, I got the King of Swords and the Moon together. I have stood in front of it many times and have learned how to be able to accept what's reflected back at me by living a certain way so that when I die and I'm reminded of the life I live and how I affected people, I don't have to hide from my own actions. I've stood in front of the mirror of the moon many times, right next to justice as it's weighing my heart and passed right on through. And that's the problem. There are souls.
It looks good. It looks like it's gonna, excuse me, come on, connect. It looks like it's gonna support him really well, a whole lot better than um, the one he had before. And and so they told me they didn't schedule another appointment. They just said to give him a call if if it starts he get any blistering or soreness or anything, discomfort. But yeah, but he seemed to really like it. And he said it felt good. Oh, and it's got this time the bands have padding and cushion like on that go across the leg in the front.